1. So this is something that happened to me a few weeks ago. I'm a 19-year-old female and I have EMT training. That'll be relevant in just a minute. Okay, so my friend and I were driving to Walmart. It was about 10:30 at night. We live in what used to be the meth capital of the United States. I don't think our state is the meth capital anymore. We were stopped at a stoplight in the turn lane to go into the Walmart parking lot. 2 cars passed us going at regular speed. My friend was driving and I was on the phone with one of our other friends. All of a sudden, I heard my friend Anna say, "Hey, Grey 124, did that car just crash?" Intrigued, I looked up and saw the 2 cars that had just passed us in an accident, only maybe 100 feet from us. I was kind of excited, which sounds awful, but I had just finished my EMT training not too long before, so I told her to get into the other lane and go over to the accident so we could check it out. When we got over there, the car that had been hit had 2 people in it, male crackhead and female crackhead. Male crackhead was pissed. The car that had been behind them hit them from the back and made their car spin off into a greasy area off the side of the road. Female crackhead was screaming in the front seat about how her hip hurt, and head, and anything else. But when we asked if they wanted us to call for an ambulance, they said no. And they also didn't want us to call the police. Well, we weren't about to do that, so we called the police anyways. It was hard to pinpoint our exact location, so it took them forever to get there. While we were waiting, I kept checking on female crackhead, as she kept changing her story about where she was hurt, and would only act hurt when I asked her if she was okay. In the other car, the one that hit them, was a super sweet 18-year-old boy. He was terrified. We all kind of figured out the situation. Crackhead car slammed on their brakes and didn't use their turn signal, and the boy didn't have enough time to stop. While we were waiting for the police to arrive, Black Jeep pulled up behind the crackhead's car, and male crackhead started throwing a bunch of stuff into a diaper bag they had in the back seat, before handing it off to the guy in the black Jeep, who proceeded to drive away. When the police got there, Anna and I gave them a statement and told them what was going on, and crackhead guy overheard us telling the police how it was pretty much their fault, and how we were pretty sure male crackhead had given drugs to the black Jeep that came. Anyways, once the police were done with us, Anna and I left to go to Walmart. When we turned into Walmart, a red car had followed us. I was on the phone, again. This time with my mom, telling her about the weird accident we had witnessed. Well, we pulled into a parking spot, and the red car pulled in 2 spots down from us. I wasn't paying attention. Thank God Anna was there, or this might have ended really bad. Anna nudged me and said, "Hey, I think that car followed us in here, and now they're staring at us." I shrugged her off and told her that she was being crazy. Well, when I looked over, there were 2 guys in the red car and they were staring at us. When they noticed us, they whipped it out of their parking space and drove all the way around to the other side of the parking lot, to where they were parked across from us. And they kept staring at us. Anna was freaked out, so she decided we should just leave and go to a different Walmart. So we pulled out of our parking spot, quickly, and started driving towards the exit. Red car guy immediately hit the gas and drove all the way to our exit where he was blocking us in. That's when we noticed it was the same man who had been driving the Jeep earlier. Freaked out, we put it in reverse and found a different way to get out of the parking lot, and we drove back to where the police were still at the accident and told them everything that had happened. The black Jeep came back while we were talking to the police, with a different driver, and they ran the plates and found out the owner of the Jeep had assault and weapons charges. That was probably the most freaked out I've ever been. But I'm so grateful that my friend Anna is aware of her surroundings. What would have happened if we would have gotten out of the car and went into Walmart? 2. This happened to me about a year ago, and I had the thought to share it with you guys after spending a long time on this sub. It was around March, April last year when this happened. I'd been at a friend's party about an hour away from my house, and I was on my way back the following morning. To get to my house, I had to take a bus from said friend's place, where the party was held, ride for about 50 minutes, and then transfer buses for the short remaining 10 minutes to reach the stop near my house. My house would then be a short 5-minute walk from there. I wake up Sunday morning around 7 feeling sluggish and tired, but eventually me and my equally sluggish friend catch the only bus to the main city on time, and the ride there is pretty uneventful. We arrive at a silent and empty bus central, and we're the only people there at this moment. It is now around 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, given why almost no one is out. We quickly eat some the day after McDonald's, and she catches her train home, leaving me on the empty bus central. My bus doesn't leave until 8:35, and although it's broad daylight, I feel unnerved as soon as she gets on the train. I'm by no means a tough or brave person. I'm 5'6", very afraid of the dark, ghosts, strangers, and other similar things. So I play this off as the regular old anxiety, and sit down in one of the waiting booths, pull out my phone, and begin the 30+ minute wait. It has probably been not even 10 minutes when something catches my attention in the corner of my eye. I look up, and I see a man walking towards me. The unnerving feeling I had earlier instantly comes back. He is wearing a big winter coat, not a trench coat, mind you, which was odd since it was late spring. But I thought nothing about it at the moment. He's coming closer to where I'm seated, and I remember desperately hoping he wouldn't sit down next to me. He does, and the unnerving feeling I had earlier intensifies, but I have nowhere to go. I have to stay seated next to this man, who is by now sitting uncomfortably close to me. The thing that made the entire encounter so much creepier was that he did not seem drunk, high, or mentally unstable at all. He seemed incredibly calm and collected, and that's what scared me the most. He starts initiating conversation, first asking simple things like how I was, until he got more persistent, asking me where I was from and where I was going, where I had been for me to end up here. He asks if I had been on a road gig, and I tell him I don't play music, until he gets even closer and says it means the same as one night stand. I'm really uncomfortable by now, and my gut is telling me to haul ass, but I'm trapped. I try to keep my head cool and answer his questions, making polite conversation and steering the subject away from me and where I'm heading. At one point, I take up my phone, thinking I'll message a friend to pick me up. But as soon as I do, the man is almost over my shoulder, commenting on my beautiful background pic, a selfie of me and my friend, and makes a joke about how he wouldn't mind having me over for dinner. It is now 8:26. I distinctly remember the number when he made the comment. And I'm just praying for time to move quick. I remember thinking that if the bus does not come soon enough, I'll be dead. This man is going to take me away and murder me. The bus central is still empty except for the two of us, and he offers me a breath mint from a small metal jar in his pocket. I try to nicely decline, even though I'm screaming bloody murder in my head. He tries offering a hard candy, and I say that I don't eat sweets. He says, "Sure you don't. A sweet girl like you don't need 'em." All I think about now is that if the bus doesn't arrive soon, I'm screwed. The bus central is still as empty as can be, and in my panicking mind I remember thinking that I need to distract him long enough for the bus to arrive, and then I'm safe. I tried to keep my cool and keep conversation going, and as if someone heard my terrified prayers, the bus arrives a few minutes early. I get up, and I know I could start crying at any given moment, seeing the bus driver and other people in the bus. The man gets up as well, and says that it's fortunate we're catching the same bus. He asks me where my bus stop is, and I blurt one out I know is several kilometers from me. Seeing the bus driver's face calms me, and I let the man go on first, trying to think of what to do next and how to get away from this man. When it's my turn to pay, I lean in and whisper to the driver if he can pull in at my stop without me pushing the button. I think he must have seen how scared I was because he nods. There's an elderly woman on the bus with her dog, and another guy in the far back. So my nerves calm down quite a bit, and I take the aisle seat next to the woman. The man is now playing with the woman's dog, and she is looking incredibly uncomfortable, but doesn't seem to stop the man. I make eye contact with her, and we both realize that something is wrong with this man. My stop comes up, and the man is seated across from me, playing with the woman's dog. The doors open, and the man is looking at me right as I'm about to leave, and I'm thinking that if I leave now, he leaves with me. The elderly woman with the dog must have realized something because she initiates conversation with him, and the dog grabs his attention for only a few seconds. I bolt for the doors, and the bus driver closes them immediately after me. I hear him yelling at the bus driver as I run the fastest I have ever ran and make it to my house in almost no time. I haven't seen the man since, and I don't know if he ever posed an actual threat to me. But I have never been that scared of a stranger in my life. I truly owe it to the bus driver and the elderly lady on the bus. Otherwise, I am certain he would have gotten off the bus with me. I hope I never see him again. 3. Before I left for college, I had a boyfriend whom I had been dating since I was 16. He and I had many arguments, but I never really felt it was a problem until I decided to end things for good. He would do things like show up at my house after a fight, and I thought it was weird, but he said it was because he cared, so I believed him. During the summer of going to senior year, we broke up, and he decided to go somewhere to work. Now, due to where he moved, he didn't really have any reception until he would come back on the weekends, which I was thankful for since I didn't want to see him anymore. It was there he met a girl and they started dating, but he would still call me obsessively. I just brushed it off as him wanting to have his cake and eat it too, so I told him to leave me alone. Around this time I had met my current boyfriend, and he was kind of aware of the situation, but he also brushed it off as just an ex who couldn't get over the fact that it was over. So my ex and his girl were dating, but he would still show up to my house and leave presents, thrown in my grass or doorstep or whatever, and I would leave them there or throw them away, never opening them. When I told my best friend, she of course followed the girl on Instagram and stalked and stuff, and one day she told me they had broken up. Now, at this time, I was already officially dating my boyfriend, so my biggest concern was that he would start showing up to my house again. Now, my ex knew I was going to move far away from my home to go to university, and he would constantly message me telling me to see him one last time. Now, before you guys say, "You idiot, you should have blocked him," I did. He would use his friends' phones or download apps so he could message me from those. Fast forward on my birthday. Things have died down, and I didn't have a huge 18th birthday because I like keeping to myself. So it was just my small family, my dad, mom, sister, and boyfriend, eating my favorite food and cake. It was around 9 or 10 because we had just gotten home from the shopping mall. So we were getting ready to eat when the doorbell rings. Now, because our house has been broken into twice, and it is in a dangerous neighborhood, my parents did get a little freaked out. So my dad opened the door. "Hey look, my ex." He asked if I was home, and of course my dad said no, and my ex replied, "I see her boyfriend's car. Keep in mind that I had never seen him while I was dating my boyfriend, so there was no way I thought he could have known it was his car. But whatever, I shrugged it off as him guessing. My dad was stubborn and said I wasn't there, and the whole time my little sister is looking at me and my boyfriend like, what the fuck? Finally he left and started calling me frantically and told me that I had called his girlfriend, bullying her. Which I knew was a lie because I was with my boyfriend all the time, and she wasn't his girlfriend anymore. She was dating someone else. He called me a bitch and a cunt, and said I had called him telling him to save me because my boyfriend would beat me and rape me. Now this angered me, because he knew I had been raped by a family friend when I was younger, and I didn't joke about things like that. So before my boyfriend could go beat him up, I just told him that I was going to call the cops. The cops were so helpful. They said they couldn't do anything because I replied, and it looks like I'm asking for it. For the next couple of days, he's throwing rocks at my house, and he's calling me from weird numbers. Half of the calls crying, half of the calls telling me he's outside. Until they just stopped. Completely. So I thought it was over for real. And fast forward to now, August. Me and my boyfriend are living together far away from my childhood home. Now, remember when I said John knew where I was moving? Well, my boyfriend got a friend request from him on Instagram, and he also texted me. We blocked his number on my phone, and my ex DM'd my boyfriend. The message said, "Hey, I'm in location here. You guys should come out and show me around the city." We didn't believe him because he's full of shit, but the next message, "This is your apartment building, right?" And he sent us a screenshot of our apartment building. So, for now, I'm not allowed to go outside, and my boyfriend and I don't have more than a month here. We don't know anyone. So, creepy ex, please, let's not meet. Update. So far he doesn't stop messaging my boyfriend. He keeps saying he just wants to talk. He flew over 2,000 miles to talk. Also, I did leave a couple details out about this ex-girlfriend, but she has recently messaged me, telling me to be careful. One time he messaged me quite early in the morning and asked how I was. Stupid me, because at this time I didn't think he was that crazy. Replied. Later during the night because I had worked a 10-hour shift. My work doesn't care if I'm a minor, and I like making money, okay? So I replied, "Doing good, how's work?" And she texted me saying that she doesn't wish to be rude, but they had been dating and he had moved on, so I should too. And I didn't even know she existed. So I respected and didn't reply. Apparently what happened was that during that time, he had told her I was the one stalking, and couldn't get over it because he was my first. When I didn't text back and she saw I was talking to someone else, and she never saw my phone number popping up when they were together. They work together and live in the same area. They were together a lot. She got curious. So she decided to do her own little creeping. She found out which app he used to text me. How he found my new address. I guess he found a friend who's quite handy in tech stuff. She also has screenshots of him and his friends texting in a group chat about how they're going to get my Instagram pictures and use them on fake accounts, and my other friends to make fake accounts and bully her to make his story believable. Really need to appreciate this girl's stalk game? It's strong. I called the cops, again, with this new information, and they told me that currently they still could do nothing. Some fucking bullshit about me being in a different state, and how it isn't technically their case to handle. My friend, whom I met during orientation, messaged me saying some guy messaged her, claiming to be my boyfriend, that he accidentally lost his keys. And I wasn't home, and he needed to get into the apartment if she could buzz him in. Luckily, she hasn't moved into her apartment yet, so she isn't currently in our apartment building. Our apartment is like 3 minutes away from our university, so a lot of college kids live there. I don't know if I mentioned that. She said he didn't seem alarmed or anything. He simply said, "Thank you, I'll just wait until she gets home then." I'm incredibly scared because if he found all this out, I would not be surprised. If he shows up at my boyfriend's work, which is a easy 10-minute walk from our apartment, I'm scared because I'm fucking 18, 5'2", 110. I don't even look 18. The only thing calming me down is that you have to get buzzed in to enter our apartment building, since it automatically locks when you close the entry door behind you. Thankfully, my boyfriend hasn't seen him while he goes to work or comes back. Thank God, because he gets home really late. Update, August 9th, 2016. As of right now, neither me or my boyfriend have actually physically seen him. But something happened and I thought I would update. Yesterday was my boyfriend's day off, and whenever he's working, I usually show up and take him some little snack from the dollar store. We're currently struggling quite a bit financially, so I like to do this to kind of be like, "Hey Nugget, it's okay, we're going to get through this and be okay." Positive vibes, you know? It's all about the positive vibes. This is important because I show up every day he works at the same time, simply because I got used to that time, I'm not sure why. Anyways, I'm really friendly, so all the girls there and I usually chat for a while, and one or two take their lunch, and we hang out at the Sephora place, and whatnot. I'm rambling, I'm so sorry. I'll get to the point. Today my boyfriend shows up to work, and his co-worker mentions that he already made quota today. And he gets kind of confused. Whenever someone in a jewelry store buys something but mentions a specific person's name, they automatically get the sale. So she tells him what happened on his day off. Around the time I usually show up with the snack, she said it was slow and they got kind of excited when the door opened, thinking it was me. Cute, I know. When they saw a young man and the co-worker went to help him. He said he was looking for a promise ring for his girlfriend, and they needed to get something today. He already knew what ring he wanted, and he was going to pay cash. He asked for my boyfriend, but he wasn't there. And she was like, "No, I'm sorry, it's his day off." And the guy asked questions about me, and she got a little weirded out, but just said, "She only comes in when he's working, usually around this time." And he just said, "Yeah, I know." She helps him, and he buys the same ring that my boyfriend got me as a promise ring. And she's seen my ring, so she thought it was weird but brushed it off, as my boyfriend probably just previously showed him that ring to make conversation. She still gets curious since she's never seen him in the store, and asks when he came in and stuff. And he said he probably came in when she was off, which could honestly be true. He then starts asking when my boyfriend is going to work, and I guess she figured there were a lot of things off about this dude, so she just said she didn't know because the schedules hadn't been made yet. He got the ring and left. My boyfriend asked a description, and of course it was him. So for now, my Dollar Tree adventures, as well as any of them for that matter. I'm job searching, so I usually walk around the shops and do a lot of wandering by myself while he's at work. I've been cut off. I don't know what to feel right now. I think it's still unreal to me because I haven't physically seen him. And it's my stupid head that always sees the best in people, that doesn't want me to believe that he would hurt me or my boyfriend. My aunt found out from my mom, and she called me and immediately gave me the "You're fucking little. You better not try to do anything because he could easily just pick your little ass up and take you" speech. And it's like everyone around me is taking all of these precautions. And it's like a dream to me because I didn't think that it could ever happen to me. And I'm usually quiet about things like this, and I don't know how to cope. My boyfriend is scared for me, and he's already so stressed. And so is my mom and dad, since I've never been this far away from home. And I'm telling everyone I'm okay, and I will be safe, and I keep reassuring my little sister and FaceTiming her every night, and telling her not to be scared, that it's nothing. But I really just want it to stop. Hey everyone, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 116. You know, the more of these stories I read, the more paranoid I get, I swear to God. I rarely use public transportation, in fact I walk most places, but a lot of these ones take place on buses and trains and whatnot, and it just doesn't seem safe. I mean, if it ever was safe. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to jet for now, because I want to get to work on the next video, get a bit of a jump on it. So, until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.